Cheryl or Sherry, Nashville, Tennessee. A man was fishing in March of 1976. He discovered a woman in the Harpeth River, and this is in Nashville, Tennessee. It was believed she'd been there less than a day. She had a photo in her pants, and he was a white blonde-haired boy with the name Little Charlie written on the back. And then there was a phone number. This seemed like it would be much easier to solve than reality would prove it to be. They called the number, and there was a Charlie at that number. This would lead to Charles Moore from East Nashville. It seems pretty cut and dried. It was a great lead, but it didn't pan out. It turns out there were two Charlies at that number. Charlie Moore was 24, and his father was known as Big Charlie. Neither one of them had any relation to the child in the photo at all, but she did meet the younger Charles at that number. Charles would explain he met the young woman when he and his brother-in-law picked her up hitchhiking on Interstate 24. She was with another teenage female who he would describe as slender, white, with sandy blonde hair, scars on her wrists, and she was wearing wire-rimmed glasses that had round lenses. He believes that the woman in question had the name of either Cheryl or Sherry. He would go on to say that they were traveling from a treatment facility in Minnesota, or at least that's what they told him. They would say that they escaped their stay there, near the Twin Cities, and had taken off. And when he gave her the ride, it was about a week before she was found. So a week had passed in between. And the weirder thing is, they had said they were heading to Haines City, Florida. However, when they were found, they were going the opposite way on the highway. What seems so crazy about this is you would think there would have been some sort of alert if you had teenagers escaping a facility. It could be that they did escape from one and it wasn't near the Twin Cities. They were on the highway, so they could have been coming from anywhere. They would share that the woman that would become Jane Doe, she was sent there for issues with alcohol. The other woman would say that she was there because she wanted to take her own life. But that woman never spoke out at all after this other gal was found. It's possible something happened to her also. The reason that she had the phone number belonging to Charles was explained by him. He would say that he thinks that the photo might have belonged to her companion. When they were looking for paper in the truck, she ended up using that as a substitute. Then he went ahead and gave her his phone number. He would say that he dropped her and her friend off about 90 miles the other direction of where she was found. As I mentioned before, it makes no sense that they were going in a different direction, at least not on purpose, although who knows, maybe their plans had changed. Charlie Moore and his brother were excluded as persons of interest. The police don't believe they had anything to do with this. It was noted in the examination that her pants were unbuttoned and she was not wearing a top, and there were cuts and bruises visible. Her COD was drowning. She'd been active in an adult way that I can't mention on here. I'd say SA, but we don't know if there was consent or not. They recorded her dental information, and that is available, as are fingerprints. But despite this and looking and ruling out some people that came along as suggestions, none of this led to her identity, and for some reason they have not taken her DNA yet, or at least it says online that it's not available. It's pretty unusual that a case of this age isn't in CODIS yet, but it appears it's not. It says she was buried and then later moved to a different site, but no reason is listed for no DNA. It's possible they don't know where her remains are. It happens a lot, unfortunately. The sad thing, too, is if these are the only modes of identification that they have or are possible, the odds of finding dental films at an existing dental place might be minimal. Now, of course, we take exams like that and they take digital films, but back then it was a hard copy, and the older you get, the bigger and bulkier, of course, the items are, and it takes more storage room. I can't say her specific age on here, as they always seem to shut off my comments. It's meant to prevent bullying, which obviously this is not that. But anyway, you can see the age on the screen. This would mean someone in her family is missing someone likely born from 1959 to 1962. It's believed she is either Hispanic or Native American. She was 5'2" and around 120 to 130 pounds. She had brown hair and brown eyes. She also had had a lot of dental work done, mostly fillings. She had burns on her arms that were possibly from cigarettes. She was also noted to be well endowed, though it doesn't name the size of her bra, just that it was large for her age. She was wearing a rawhide bracelet as well as a choker-type necklace. Although, of course, these were found nearby her remains, so there's no way to know for sure that they belonged to her. They do say that she had a mole near her left eye, and she had a larger build. She had several surgical scars, although they don't indicate what they were likely for. They describe her upper left canine as being oddly positioned. She had a lot of fillings, but there was a large amount of decay in one tooth there and no filling, which perhaps means that whatever was going on in her life, she wasn't getting the care she should have at the time. If anyone knows anything at all about this case, please call the number on the screen. It's possible without the DNA, this is the only way it's going to get solved. Those who grew up with her and might be her peers who would know somebody was missing, they would likely be in their early to mid-60s now. Cheryl Doe has gone unidentified for 46 years. Miss X, 1982, from Romulus, Alabama. Miss X was discovered on April 18th in Romulus, Alabama. There is another case of the same name recently identified as Patra Patmos, but this took place in 1967 in Delaware, so this is not that case. This yet-to-be-identified doe was found on an Alabama riverbank in 1982. When they examined her, they determined suffocation was the COD. But who did this isn't known any more than who she was. There is a post-mortem photograph available online, and she's described as recognizable. She was around 115 pounds and 5 foot 4 inches tall. Whoever took her life also subjected her to SA, and it's possible she had been physically assaulted also, and it appears it took place in the same place she was found. Any abbreviations I use in this video are because of the rules of YouTube, so if I've abbreviated something, you can find it in the description below as to what it is. I apologize for having to do this. She had what was described as a ruddy complexion, meaning she'd spent a lot of time outdoors, either because she was unhoused or just because she enjoyed outdoor activities. It could be either of those or both. She had an upper partial denture and dark brown shoulder-length hair. They believe she may have had brown eyes. Her family might remember she had a visible scar that could be seen under her right eyebrow. They think she may have had a child in the past, so there might be a child out there seeking information on what happened to their mother. She was wearing a preppy brand blue shirt, knitted blue pants, and tennis shoes. The missing cases of Cindy Allegro, Teresa Baxter, Andy Coyle, and Sandra Maddox have been ruled out as being this decedent. Miss X has gone unidentified for 41 years. Thank you so much to everybody commenting. Even with just an emoji, it really has made a big difference. The current goal for the channel is 20,000 subscribers, but we aren't even halfway there as I record this. So if you enjoy the content here and you're not sure, take a peek to see if you're subscribed. Please consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss new episodes. Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other.